What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Game Informer video. Welcome to our E3 coverage, more importantly. E3 doesn't kick off until technically June 12th, but it's June 9th, and we just saw the new Battlefield game revealed. So, you know, E3, it starts today. Of course, head over to GameInformer.com/E3 for all of our coverage, our news, our interviews, our previews, all that goodness through the entirety of E3. We got you covered. So again, GameInformer.com/E3. Watch live with us all the conferences, twitch.tv/GameInformer, and then watch reaction videos like this one at youtube.com/GameInformer. And lastly, June 12th through 15th, the main days of E3. We've got a day recap every day. End of day recap. That's how I talk. End of day recap over on the Game Informer show. Welcome. I'm your host, Alex Van Aken, joined today by Jake Wiesau. What is going on, Jay?
What's up? Ready to talk Battlefield, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also, Liana Rupert. Hello, Liana.
Hello. We're excited. Jay and I have been busting at the seams trying to keep quiet about this. So the fact that we can actually talk about it now is...
I know. Exactly.
Chef's kiss indeed. So let's kind of talk about the trailer. And, you know, we started and got hit with what, a 60-minute countdown, and for us live streaming, that meant we vamped for 60 minutes and talked about E3. But then it kind of kicked off, and we kind of got our first glimpse at, you know, the warfare, the carnage that's going to happen, the ridiculousness, over the top nature of this next Battlefield game, which is called Battlefield 2042. Not Battlefield 6, Battlefield 2042. It's going to feature...
Company 3.
I know, right? Sad face. It's going to feature 128 player matches, which is awesome. 64 versus 64. Massive scale combat. You know, what Battlefield
We're only
is
this
known
gen.
for. We're only
Only
this gen.
this gen.
Okay,
Yeah.
next gen. Current gen?
Current
How
gen
are-
PS5, Xbox is Series
Okay.
X, and PS5 is 128. If you're playing
Okay.
on Xbox One or PlayStation 4, it's 64.
Good to know. So, Leon, I'm going to hand it over to you. You and Jay went to an event. You got to see some Battlefield 2042. Tell me about it and kind of maybe tie it into what we saw today.
Okay, so there's a lot more we can't talk about yet.
Yeah.
But that will be coming soon after the reveal on June 13th, I believe. So stay tuned for that. Plug. But yeah, no. So for me, like, I'm a huge shooter fan. Prior military, it's kind of just a shtick. I feel like, to me, Battlefield and Medal of Honor are like the two epicenters of the FPS genre. But Battlefield kind of sucked for a little bit. Like Battlefield 5. I wanted to like it. The weapon balancing just felt really off. They needed to take some time away. They needed to do what Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed, and they needed to step back, revamp, like refined their vision instead of just worrying about pumping out those annual releases. And that time off that they took is definitely evident. This has been in development for 3 years. And it's big. Everything about it is meant to be bigger. So the maps are much bigger. We've got Egypt, we've got Korea, we've got... just a bunch of different biomes, which is Battlefield is kind of known for. I feel like especially Battlefield 1 did really good job with that. But what's interesting is, and Mr. J wrote a really good piece on this, is you can actually weaponize a freaking tornado.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Right?
Oh, yeah. When we got to that part in the trailer, I was blown away. And I kind of had the sneak peek. Like, I knew that we were, you know, you guys had seen it, and I knew something like that was coming, but I didn't know what it was going to look like in action. And wow, it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Like having your vehicle sucked up into the tornado, ejecting, like jumping out. Oh,
You can use it to your advantage too. So like Egypt will have like dust storms, like the weather, and dynamic weather is again very dynamic. But like with the tornadoes, we were asking, and like I was like, okay, well, because there's like debris and stuff that can hit you, and I was like, can you like use that? Because there's a grapple hook. One of the specialists has a grapple. I'm like, well, potentially, could we grapple something from there and like use it? And while they didn't give us specifics, they did say that if you're smart and strategic, you can actually use the tornado and like maybe take out a sniper that's camped out at the top of a skyscraper, or those areas that you can't really like, because that's what Battlefield has always done really well. The verticality has been untouched, and that's why people were a little bit worried, like, is it going to be turning into Call of Duty? Because Call of Duty is much smaller.
I didn't play 5 for what it's worth, but I played every Battlefield since before that. And Battlefield 1, that was one of my biggest takeaways, was some maps. There was a map, I think it was either Germany or Switzerland, like it was like a mountainous map. There was some verticality there, but nothing like, some of my favorites are like, the dam from Battlefield 3, where you're jumping off the dam and like skydiving down to the next part of the map. Like,
that's so
I
cool.
miss that level of verticality, and it seems like we're kind of getting back to that.
Exactly. Yeah, it seems like, I don't know, it seems like like having that modern perspective with this new game is sort of how you get that verticality back. Because like when I think of the verticality, I think of skyscrapers and snipers, having their little like spawn points at the top and everying. And so
it's hard to do that when you're set in World War II.
Yeah, I would agree.
Robots.
Like, what am I gonna like levolution this building with like a C4 satchel? Probably not. You need like more modern stuff, I'd assume. I don't know. I don't know much about Levolution outside of Battlefield. But one thing that I've kind of been keeping track with, like Andy McNamara, former editor-in-chief of Game Informer, he's now the director of comms at EA. He's kind of tweeted out a little bit after today's teaser, saying, quote, "We have so much more Battlefield to show you. We have 3 multiplayer experiences."
Conquest is back, baby.
Yeah, thank God. All-Out Warfare is home to Conquest and Breakthrough, but we have 2 really exciting and truly unique experiences to show you on top of that as we march to launch. So, All-Out Warfare, that's Conquest and Breakthrough. That's that if you're on next gen and PC, 128 players. If you're on last gen, then 64 players. I'm looking at like some of the, he included an image. They said Hazard Zone. It says squad up and drop down into the Hazard Zone, an all new high stakes multiplayer experience. Can we, it is or
it
no?
is not Battle Royale.
Right. Yeah.
Very clear.
Exactly. Yeah. They were very clear about that.
Do not mistake this. So we didn't get to see like specifics about that. Like they're being very protective of whatever that mode is.
Yeah.
But they were very adamant that I think because when they did introduce Battle Royale in a previous Battlefield, it didn't land. Call of Duty and Battlefield communities are very different despite being the same genre. Yeah. And it didn't land the same way it did with Call of Duty. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of success with Call of Duty Warzone. Battlefield's community isn't as interested in that. I feel like to kind of go in on that would be a little bit shooting yourself in the foot because, I mean, Warzone is dominating and you would have to have something truly special. But this is, that being said, it is very different than the other multiplayer modes that are going to be present in the game and very different than anything that they've ever done in the past.
Right.
Okay.
The creative director, the designer, they all said it was basically a love letter to Battlefield fans. So what we got out of that, and Jay, please correct me if I'm wrong, it was just that it's going to be a blend of a couple of different modes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm interested because I don't know. Jay, I know you're great at Battle Royale. I don't have the patience for it. I just want to go ham. I want to run and gun. I want to just
give me those
light them up.
Points.
Smoke them if you got them, boys. And Battle Royale is there's a lot of just camping. Unless you're just a top tier player, there's a lot of hurry up and wait, which I already did enough of that when I was active duty. And it's just not a thing. But this one, they say it's like really high, like fast paced, really. It's gonna be something different. The whole point of this, what I like too, is they're not pigeonholing themselves. A lot of times when we get new reveals, they're like, this is the future and this is the standard going forward. Yeah. And so I asked, I was like, is the single player omission gonna be, you're saying this is the next step of evolutionary progress for Battlefield, does that mean that, that excludes single player? And they were very clear of saying like, no, we're going by title basis. What does the shooter community want during that time? At this point, they thought we want to focus more on the multiplayer experience. However, they are supplementing that. Like one thing that I will count against Battlefield that Call of Duty does do better, sorry Battlefield fans, is Call of Duty is very good at giving backstory for operators. Yeah. There's a element of story there regardless, and Battlefield has kind of just been like, he shoot pretty, and like
like outside of like Bad Company, like you've always kind of played the everyman who's like,
exactly,
you're in this scenario, you're just here for the spectacle, and you might survive, you might die, and then we're gonna take you over here. And I know they tried to get out of that with Battlefield 1. They had more of a focus on story. Yeah, those vignettes just don't
it.
They just didn't work for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So what they said with this is they're doing lore, like kind of how like Overwatch does, where if you have a certain comp in a map, there's the voice lines and there's the interactions there that kind of give you a sneak peek. They're kind of doing something similar to that. I don't know the specifics, like specifics, but I do know the general overview is going to be there's going to be like actual backstories presented in the game itself, and then there's going to be actual additional lore, kind of like how Destiny 2 does it with the Grimoires throughout the map. So it actually challenges you to explore and not just camp in one location and be like,
so we're gonna be like getting like audio tapes as we're like running and gunning.
I'm interested because it could be. Oh, I gotta say, and Jay, I know you're with me on this. So like, chime in and tell me to shut up for a second so you can also geek out with this. But like, one thing I love sniping. That's like my favorite thing to do. However, again, I mentioned I'm a run and gun type gal. So like, I oftentimes, and this happens all the time in Call of Duty, is I'll be like, kill. Oh, I see a group. I'm going. And then I'm in this like close quarters sniper, which is not good. You don't want to be in a close quarters with a sniper.
Trying to quick scope.
Trying to quick scope. So what they have now is they now have a wheel that you can pop up, and mid-match, you can actually change your loadout. You can change your gear. You can change your scope. So like, if you're bringing a sniper to a knife fight, you can switch that out really quick if you need to. Exactly. And then also, you're not limited to guns either. Before, your whatever character you chose, you were limited within their limited scope of what gear they could equip. But this, they have their tactical ability, their special ability that is locked, because there needs to be some reason why you would choose one character over the other.
Yeah, I got to rep medic no matter what.
There you go. Yeah, medic's the best.
But now, like, so if you want to play support, but you also really like sniping, you can. Like, you're not going to be cutting yourself off from your weapon of choice, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Jay. I was just gonna mention the brief cameo of them in the trailer having the dude jump out of his jet, and that was pulled straight from like a moment that happened in like Battlefield 3. I remember like the YouTube clip so clearly of him jumping out of his jet, pulling out his rocket launcher, firing one off, and then getting in another jet and taking it over, like getting back into his jet. Man. Yeah. But sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna quickly say that I don't know, something that like I just think being able to switch on the fly is just huge. I feel like it's really small, but it definitely feels revolutionary, because I can't think of another game where it's just like you have to like die and then open your menus and switch things out in there, or maybe sometimes you can't even do that, right? You have to completely leave the match and be back in the lobby to be able to change your kit. But it's just going to be incredible just being able to switch on the fly and be ready for any scenario. I think that's nuts.
And I wonder how that'll affect like ammo, because correct me if I'm wrong, certain classes in the past, I only play medic and like occasionally like just like standard assault dude. But there is an engineer or somebody used to be able to like throw down like ammo satchels for you to pick up extra ammo.
They're gonna go into that a little bit more with gameplay, because they completely reworked how specialists work in this game. Like there's a lot more freedom, there's a lot more detail to how these operators or specialists work. So that's something that we're gonna learn about a little bit later this weekend. But yeah, I would be interested, because in Destiny, if you swap out your loadout in an instance, that new gun that you're doing more often than not, especially if it uses special ammo, is now you're at 0 ammo and you kind of pigeonhole yourself into having a useless weapon. Yeah. But I think my favorite part of this reveal was at the very end when they gave us gameplay for Elden Ring.
I was like, wait, what? That's fantastic.
We both processed that for like.
Well, I think that's a good place to end it. I think that's a good place to end it. Jay, Liana, thank you for joining me. Of course, if you want to follow them, follow Liana at Dirty Effin' Hippie on the socials. Follow Jay at Jason_Guisao. It's Guisao. And you can follow me at It's Van Aken on the Twitters, on the Instagrams. Of course, stay tuned to GameInformer.com/E3 for all of our E3 coverage. For the next week? It's Christmas time, baby. It's the best time of the year. It's E3. It's back, and we've got all the coverage. So again, twitch.tv/GameInformer. Follow along, watch with us all of the conferences, and then YouTube.com/GameInformer. We'll have reaction videos like these. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Everybody, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.